You're watching Good Evening San Diego.
Well, after the economic hardship caused by the pandemic, a lot of people are looking for financial advice for the year to come. And now with some tips is the Vice President of Member Investment Services at Mission Federal Credit Union, Serini Rowe. Serini, great to see you. Thanks for taking some time.
Thanks, Logan. Good to be on.
Let's talk about what we need to do. I know your first step is you've got to create that budget, right? Tell me about that.
Well, first of all, it's important as we're kind of coming out of the pandemic or actually living in it still, but to build and rebuild our savings, I think the first thing is you got to set a savings goal for yourself and set a dollar goal that's realistic in a time frame that you want to achieve that goal in, and then create that monthly budget for yourself or recalibrate it. I think for a lot of us, it's kind of reevaluating our monthly income. Monthly income has perhaps changed for some folks, whether it's because of reduced hours or stimulus payments that we've received. And then taking a closer look at our monthly expenses since the pandemic, things like our mortgage and our rent, those essential expenses. But we've seen some increases in groceries and gas expenses. And so making sure we account for those as we're building our budget is super important.
Yeah, talk a little bit more about creating the budget, because you've got to figure out how much money's coming in and really how much is going out. And I think sometimes people forget about things or they miscalculate.
Absolutely. And I think, the whole thing with creating a monthly budget is it's not a one and done. It's an ongoing activity that you have to be doing. When you look at your monthly expenses, it's not every month your expenses could change. And what I have found is if you find kind of sticking to a budget is challenging, your financial institution may offer you certain budgeting features online that will allow you to track your spending a little bit better. There's a lot of free budgeting apps online that can help you as well, things like Mint and Every Dollar.
You talked about creating a savings plan. How much should somebody try to save realistically? Is it a percentage of their overall take-home income?
Yeah. So, experts generally recommend that we put away at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in an emergency fund. And that may be difficult at times, especially, now. So I would say aim for smaller goals. If you're paid bi-weekly and you collect 26 paychecks a year, if you can set aside just $38 per paycheck, you would save about $1,000 a year. If you could set aside $87 per paycheck, you would save over $2,200 per year for an emergency fund. And if you could save $135 per paycheck, you would be able to save close to $3,500 a year. So again, the idea of having an emergency fund, I think, is extremely critical. And if I were to give any kind of clues on how to do that, the first and foremost thing is open an account at a credit union or a bank and then automate. Get a direct deposit of your paycheck or your payment from the government, and then set up an auto save into a savings account for yourself. Make savings a habit, and don't be afraid to tell your friends and family when they want you to spend money that you can't. You're trying to save right now for that emergency fund.
Yeah, I've heard people say pay yourself first, which is that the money
Absolutely.
from your paycheck actually goes to you in another account, and then you don't even see it in your paycheck. How important is a 401k, and what do you tell people who say, I don't make enough money to put any into a 401k?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, if your employer does offer a retirement program like a 401k, take advantage of it. Allocate a percentage of your income towards that 401k within the confines of your budget. And certainly if your employer offers a match of the 401k, take advantage of that as well, because a match is the amount that the employer contributes based on how much you put in your 401k. But if your employer does not offer a 401k, you're not out in the cold. You can still save for your retirement, kind of following the same principles that we talked about with the emergency fund, which is set up an individual retirement account with your financial institution and then set up an auto transfer into that account on a monthly basis.
Serini Rowe with the Mission Federal Credit Union. Serini, thanks for all the tips. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Happy to be on. Thanks.